the overriding message I'd like to get across to the CEO is that he shouldn't be put off. He shouldn't be scared. Russia is a great place to do business, as long as you go in with your eyes open and take the sensible precautions. A joint venture where you just leave your partner to it is a very high-risk strategy. So control at the outset, regular supervision and monitoring, trust and verify. At the end of the day, you're dealing with two very different cultures, and for the marriage to work, you're going to have to invest some time in it.
Tell me a little bit about doing business in Russia and some of the cultural aspects.
Yeah, it's still very much a cash-based society. If you look at the petty cash in a Russian, well, in a US company, it's going to be for milk and tea bags and coffee, and petty cash in a Russian company will be hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, which are used for paying people who don't have bank accounts, people who'd rather be paid in cash, people who certainly want to get a bonus in cash, not in their bank account. Petty cash is very, very widely used. I suppose it struck me in my first few days when I was trying to pay my landlady the rent of $2,500 a month, I think it was, and I was having difficulty with the bank transfer, and it was the bank who suggested, why don't you pay it in cash like everybody else?
So what are some of the sort of specific issues that you've seen in your practice, maybe things that are unique to Russia?
FCPA is a huge part of our work. Obviously there's massive American investment in Russia, and Russia is, at the risk of stating the obvious, it's quite a long way down the Transparency International corruption scale. So it's no wonder that American companies do need to pay close attention to their Russian operations. There's also the financial misreporting and the investigation of fraud and embezzlement, but corruption and the investigation of corruption has got to be the biggest single area. I've come across some ingenious methods of generating cash because in Russia, unlike in the Western world, you can't just go to the bank and say, I'd like to withdraw a load of cash and then spend it. That won't work. You need to have, everything needs to have supporting documentation, preferably several times. So there are ways which companies have found to generate the cash. One way is simply through the payroll. There's an employee who agrees to the scheme with you. You pay that employee a large bonus, and he then rebates that bonus to you in cash. So as far as everybody's concerned, it's gone through the payroll, it's been taxed as payroll, but it isn't actually payroll at all, and that way you've generated a cash pool which can be used for whatever purpose you need.
So we commonly think of that as a kickback scheme, a rebate scheme, and that makes sense. In a cash-based economy, creating a pool of cash that you can then use would be critical.
Yep. And the other way to do that is with the so-called one-day companies. There's a network of companies which exist for a short period of time, hence their name, and all they will do is you wire them money, and they will, for a fee, turn it into cash. But they will also, for their fee, give you convincing paperwork, which looks like they've provided you with some translation services or consulting services, some other intangible. And there's ways which these companies can be identified, but it comes around to the preparation before an internal audit visit takes place. When you set up a Russian entity, your person at the head is likely to be, somebody who's entrepreneurial and gets things done and makes things happen, and all those good euphemisms. And sometimes, the enthusiasm for getting things done and meeting targets, people can get carried away, and maybe they need more bean counters. But people who obey the rules and are slightly less entrepreneurial at a time may be what you need.
It's a balance in many ways. You need both in a healthy, successful organization.
Yeah, and in Russia you need a strong element of the bean counter, like we do things only by the rules.